Are you sick of being told to trust the process? Trusting the process sounds so grueling, doesn't it? What if I told you that there was a way to eliminate the grueling drudgery out of your journey and actually enjoy it instead? You'd be interested in that, right? Of course you would. And I have my super special guest, my friend Jasleen, back on my show today to tell you the secret behind not just trusting the process, but to actually enjoying the process as well. Jasleen has been on my show before, and I am so excited to have her back. She is a daughter, a wife, a mother, and true to Enneagram 3 fashion, an entrepreneur who owns a med spa right here in Houston, Texas. Check out today's episode for the number one life-changing secret that will allow you to actually enjoy, not just trust, every part of your journey. It's all about, you hear trust the journey or trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. And I feel like it happens so much it gets a negative connotation to it. So what do you
hmm
feel about when people say trust the process?
It's like patience. There's not a lot of doing, or there is doing, but it's not the doing that we want to do. It's the grueling, hard, not fun part of getting to your success or your pinnacle of what you feel like is your goal. And a lot of times people think of it as like, ugh, I've obviously med spa and like we do a lot of weight loss, and a lot of my patients complain when I say, trust the process. It's going to take X number of months to years to get to your goal weight. And they just look at me like, what? And I'm like, there's no magic. There's no magic to it. It takes time. But you could either sit in there and just be upset about it, or you can feel good about it. And it's like your choice,
Hmm.
um, which way you go, you know?
Yeah. Right. It's always like, yeah, I feel like when people say trust the process, it's always when something not desirable has happened. It's like, why don't we ever say that when things are, quote unquote going our way? And
Mm-hmm.
it's if you think about it, it's like if everything's under control, then really you don't really require trust because if you know all the answers and you know how everything is going to um, pan out, then why do you need trust? You don't. So, but trust doesn't have to be this grueling thing that it's like, oh, I just have to trust this process.
Yeah.
We came up with this phrase and it was so powerful. I wanted to, share it with the world. Don't just trust the process, enjoy the process. So what does that mean to you? Just, you know, itself, enjoying the process. So, your patients come in to your weight loss journey. What does trusting the process versus enjoying the process look like?
It's funny because, as an Enneagram 3, we're all about like just getting to our goal and then getting to the next goal and getting to the next goal. And I found myself in my whole life just always finding a new goal and never being quote unquote happy or satisfied, right? And it's because I was using the word of trusting the journey. Like, oh, you'll get there one day. You'll be happy one day. You'll be satisfied one day. You'll be at success one day. But what ends up happening is you never get there because you didn't actually become that before you got there. And like, I think we talked about this before that, you don't ever achieve happiness. You either are happy or you're not. And if you're not, then you got to find out why. So I had to like redirect myself and realize that there's like a little bit of like sweetness to the journey, that the process is actually not just about trust, but it's enjoyable. And when you find joy in it, guess what, it gets easier. Why wouldn't you want to make it easier, and it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like a journey. It just seems like you're there already, and once you feel like you're there already, pretty soon you are actually there. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like, even like the weight loss thing, where you're like, oh, I have to eat better and I have to go to the gym. And it's like, I have to do all these things. But it's like, what about
Mhm.
you have another chance, you have another opportunity. So I'm going to enjoy going to the gym. I'm going to enjoy eating better. I'm going to enjoy the fact that there is something out there that's helping me with my weight loss process as well. It's like shifting your mind from like being frustrated and like negative to like happy and enjoy.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I think that's really powerful. The just a small reframe of I have to
Mhm.
do something versus I get to do something, right? Even that small change, I'm an NLP practitioner, which is all about neurolinguistic programming, the power of words and how you can use it to shape your life. So it's your words matter, your thoughts matter, but your words matter
Mhm.
too. And the words are just really a representation of what's going on in your mind. So if I say I have to do this, there's no enjoyment in that, right?
Yeah.
It seems forced. It also takes your personal power away because I have to do this, so I have no choice in doing this. Versus I get to do this. I absolutely love that the way you phrase that because I get to do this, right? So it's has this positive little enjoyment twist to
Yeah.
it, but it's also its personal power. So now I'm feeling
Yeah.
really proud of this. I'm taking ownership of my decision. I get to do this. And that also goes back to gratitude, right? Which is the number one
Mhm.
way to take yourself from a negative emotion to a positive one, but the power of gratitude. What about gratitude for the process? What does that look like?
That is so, I mean, it just, like, you just blow my mind every time. But it's like so true that, it is a piece, it's just like that small, tiny bit of gratitude. And like, for example, something bad happens to you, and like, you're like, oh my God, now I have to do all these things to fix this bad thing, right? And instead being like, wow, this bad thing happened, but I have all these wonderful resources, so I get to fix it very easily.
Mhm.
And it's like, that's so like, it kind of like it's like so easy and simple that it's kind of like silly. And like,
Yeah.
it's once you recognize that you're able to do that, and like you said, it's personal power, it's your choice, you get to be in charge of that. So if you want to be in charge of it being negative, go for it, be happy with
Mhm.
that, that's great. But obviously we found that that's not a lot, there's not a lot of joy there, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of traumatizing being there. So
Right, because you can really fester in that, and it
mhm,
can be a really dangerous wormhole. Um,
mhm,
so I love what you said. You don't find happiness, you create happiness, essentially.
mhm,
And I know for the longest time, and I'm still considering things, but there's points in time where you kind of get stuck with this "I'll be happy when" syndrome. Like, oh, I'll be happy when this
mhm.
happens. I'll be happy when this happens. So for me, every step, 1 through 10, I'll be happy when I hit 10. So if I'm on step one, oh, trust the process. Two, trust the process. Three, trust the process. I'm still, 7 steps away from being happy. But I love what you said. It's like, no, create your happiness now. Take where you want to be and how can you find happiness in it now? For the
Yeah.
longest time, I was unhappy living in Houston. And I was like, all I want to do is just be in LA or be in Austin or be somewhere else. I just can't wait till I get to this part of my business and all the
Yeah.
things, right? And you can get consumed in that.
Yeah.
And again, it's like you feel this sense of I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not happy yet. Oh, I'm just going to trust this process. And to me, that kind of acknowledges that this part of the process is shitty, right? And so
Mhm.
when you focus on the shitty part, oh, I'm just going to trust my way through it, you end up finding more things that make it feel shitty.
Make
And
it feel
then,
bad. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, so you're going to stay in that negative emotion longer versus, okay, I'm haven't achieved my weight loss goal yet, but where can I
Yeah.
find joy in this moment? I haven't, you know, I don't like things about Houston. I just want to be in LA. But where can I find joy in Houston? And whenever I made that shift in my own mind of saying, okay, it's not that I have to be here, it's that I can be here. And where can I find enjoyment in Houston? Going back to our favorite phrase, you always find what you look for. And I started finding, more time with friends, more clients, more reasons to be happy here, more things to do here, right? And take your example of somebody on their weight loss journey. It's like, okay, where can I find enjoyment? And oh, I actually like Zumba, or I like spin, or I like making friends at group fitness, or I'm looking for ways to find enjoyment versus just, oh, I'm trusting this grueling process,
It feels overwhelming. It feels like there's just never an end to it. And, and it feels like it's just it's not going to happen. And so you already automatically go into that mindset of it's not going to happen. So instead of being like, this step is enjoyable because, and the next thing you know, you're on the next one. So if your first step is to apply for school, and you're like, oh God, I have to apply to all these schools, and then you're like, oh, I have to take this exam. But it's like, instead being like, oh, this is going to be fun, we'll see what happens with it, and you're opening yourself up. It's like you're releasing that control, and like, but also allowing yourself to be in charge of it. It's kind of
Mhm.
like it's kind of like hard to say, because you understand how I feel. Like, I think you know what I'm talking about when you feel it, but it's a
Mhm.
different feeling when you actually experience it. And now that I'm trying to achieve a new goal, of course, um, there's a different feeling of me every day waking up and being able to sit at my desk and work on something that I don't have to have tomorrow or next week or next year. Like, it can happen at any point. So I've released the control of it, but it gives me more power to make choices every day to get to that goal. Right.
Mhm.
And I think working for yourself is one of those tasks that not everyone can do. Right. Not everyone can work for themselves and be efficient and make it work. Some people need that direction, but I think that's because there's the feeling of, oh, I have to go to work. I have to wake up. I have to, instead of like, oh, wow, like this is actually kind of fun. I get to wake up every morning and like, I don't really have to think about what I do. Somebody tells me and I just do it. And
Mhm.
it's not that much of a, mental task or whatever, but
Mhm.
there's a shift that happens between the two ways of like releasing, but also gaining more
Mhm.
freedom to be in charge of your life.
Yeah, or even, I mean, let's just say someone, doesn't have a desire to be a business owner, or own their own business, or own their own schedule, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They like that. But let's just say somebody is constantly applying for jobs, and they want a new job, and they just can't get a break, right? No one's hiring them, or they're not even interviewing them. And it's this constant like, this isn't working out, this isn't working out, this isn't working out, this isn't working out. Or like, even just take dating, because I know there's a lot of people, um, in the dating world of like, oh, I just went out with another frog, I just went out with another frog. You gotta kiss 50 frogs before you find the prince or princess or whatever it is. And it's like, how do I, if something is repeatedly not working out for me, and you're like, okay, I thought the process was 10 steps and it's looking like it's going to be about 50, right? So, uh, okay, you had me with trust the process, but now I'm on step 11 and I wasn't prepared for this. And I'm kind of maybe starting to get bitter, because it's like, how long is this freaking process, right?
Yeah.
What advice would you have for somebody in that sense, where it's like this extended process? How do I find enjoyment when I am repeatedly getting hit down, hit down, hit down, hit down with no end in sight?
I think you said it earlier. It's having gratitude for that. It wasn't for me. Like, that
Mhm.
was not for me. And I thank you, whatever power is directing this life, because that was not for me. And whatever is for me is going to find me. And it's like being open to receive what's right for you and what's going to make you happy and joyful and give you the life that, and also being happy and joyful and having the life for yourself every day. And it's recognizing that maybe you're not in the perfect circumstances, like you were saying, where you were not in the perfect circumstance being in Houston. You're like, oh, I really want to live elsewhere. And I do this all the time. Like, I want to move, I want to move. But it's like, when I start focusing on like all the good things that there are about my home or about my, city or about where I live, and like, it's easy to travel from here. There's like, it's a united hub.
Mhm.
I have a lot of family here. I have great friendships here, and all these things, like, I start being grateful for. The next thing I know, I find more good things about it. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you didn't get that job, but that job probably would have made you miserable. Like, you're already miserable. Why would you want that? So
Mhm.
instead of focusing on like, instead of focusing on the negative, and it's not about being like that toxic positivity where you're like, everything's perfect and it's not, like, you know what I mean? But it's just, and I think this is from your part of your like one of your old podcasts, but it's like thought forgiveness and thought replacement. It's just being able to recognize how you feel and really, like, just really look at it, be like, why do I feel this way? And then forgive yourself for feeling that way, and then replacing it and being grateful. I think there's so many steps involved, because
Mhm.
it's easy to be like evading it, like, ah, whatever, yeah,
Mhm.
I know I was negative about that, but I'll move on. But it's not about that. It's like really recognizing why and learning why about yourself, and then being happy and joyful and like finding the good outside of it. And so if you're dating, like for example, I have a lot of friends that date and they're, I've been married for a long time. So it's like, I don't really understand their struggle. I'm like, yeah, you'll find someone, right? Um, it's so true that as soon as you stop looking for exactly what you want, they'll find you. And it's that release, right? It's the release of like,
Mm.
I am going to keep doing what I am meant to do, which is keep applying, keep dating, and allowing for the right one to just fall into my lap. And it
Mm.
happens like this. And it's
Right.
becoming
Ooh.
intentional, right?
Yeah, that is gold right there because you've said this multiple times, and I want to just reiterate this. What's for me will find me.
Always.
Always. So, and I truly, truly do believe that. So, if something's not working out for you, right, whether it be 50 dates on Bumble or um, Bumble, sponsor this podcast, or 50 interviews on LinkedIn or Indeed or whatever the process is, but um, rather than focusing on, oh, this isn't working out for me, this isn't working out for me, this isn't working out for me, it's like that was never going to work out for you anyway. So you dodged a bullet, right? Don't waste any more of your time.
Yeah.
And I love what you said, release it. Do the inspired action, right? Things aren't going to drop into your lap. Sometimes they do, but if you're somebody who wants a new job, then you can take inspired action and update your resume and put a notification on LinkedIn or apply or let people know I'm looking. All these inspired action steps. If you're looking to date, you have to leave your house at some point in time, and you can't just stay, watching.
You have to kiss a couple of crowds.
Yes, or at least you maybe just go to dinner with one, right?
Yeah.
So, and
Maybe don't
dinner,
kiss them.
not
I don't know.
not a house date, a dinner date, right? Dinner, coffee, whatever. But it's you do your inspired action steps, but also know that that is the end of your responsibility. Releasing the outcome has changed my life. So talk to me about that. What do you want people to know about releasing the outcome? Because that's huge when it comes from just, oh, gruelingly trust the process to enjoying the process. It's huge.
Yeah. Um, so this came from the Art of Allowing and Abraham Hicks, and like that has been a big game changer for me lately. So if you haven't read it, please read it. It is life changing. But the thing that I learned from there is that we think, and this is so funny, but we think that we're gonna accomplish all of it on our own, but we're not. And that's when you release that, like, I am going to do all of it by myself, and you open up to help from wherever else that source is, you will find that you will go so much further and you'll be so much happier. And like I said, you get to take someone with you. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the release is, it's so hard to explain. It's like you literally have to like put your intention out there, do your task, and then walk away. Like, do you know
Mm.
how hard it is for an Enneagram 3 to do that? Like, wait, but I can do it all.
You're right. Or I will
Literally just
force this
walk
through.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for example, my closet, my master closet flooded when we first moved in. We had to rip out the floors and like haven't had floors, and we kept saying we're going to do them. And I literally like put it out there and I was like, this is going to happen when it's going to happen. And my floors are redone. Like it was like, I just had to let go of the fact that I was going to do it all on my own. Cause I was literally going to go and buy the material and put it down myself. And I had to like, I had to release it. I had to say, that is not the best use of my time. That is not efficient.
Right.
And
Because you
and
have
I
all
can
the
allow
time over there.
for help. Yeah,
I'm a
like her.
now I do floors. I don't do floors. I've
Doing
never done
my own
floors
floors.
before. Right. Oh, okay.
My
Now
dad did them. He's like, yeah, it's easy.
right.
But it
YouTube
really
this
is
real
that
quick.
simple.
Yeah.
It really is that simple of saying like, this is my intention, this is what I want, I'm going to take inspired action and continue to put out, like, ask people about flooring and get quotes, and then when it's going to happen, it'll happen like that. And the flooring is a silly example, but it really is that, for your job, like, I wanted to start a business and I didn't know where I wanted to start a business. I went to a Botox party at a gym that I used to go to, and now I'm part of the business. It's like, it just, you just have to put your intention out there, take inspired action, to do your research, but don't get so caught up in the weeds. Like,
Mm,
allow, give it space. Let you know it, when you plant a new plant, right? You plant a seed. You're not going to constantly go in there and water it every day. You're going to water it and let it grow in the sun, and then eventually it grows into this gorgeous flower. So
right.
you
Or
gotta wait.
you don't dig up the seed every day to see like what it looks like.
Did it grow? Did it
That
grow?
would, yeah, did it grow? Oh, let me put it back in there. Like that won't work.
Yeah.
I don't have a green thumb, but I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. But you know,
It's not.
um, yeah,
From
I don't
someone
think
who has
so.
a house full of plants, it does not work that way.
You know, I killed a cactus once, a little succulent. Actually,
Those
I
are
lied.
tough.
It was like at least 4 times I've done that. So I've just, I,
Those are tough, you know. You really got to leave those alone. That's
well,
succulents are
I did
literally the
not. I did not
homeos.
allow this cactus to just be. I was like, you know what? I should probably just keep watering this, you know? I didn't
Literally.
enjoy it. I just really, I didn't trust that it didn't need any water.
You
So
drowned it.
I
Mother.
literally did. I feel really bad about that.
Don't
So
drown your dreams. Don't drown your
maybe,
process.
yeah,
Like,
I overdid it. I just took it upon myself because, and that's what happens, you know. And honestly, I've not used that analogy, so this might come out a little wonky, but um, when you, it's all about inspired action, not incessant action, right? I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. No, it's like, what can I do? Right? What can I enjoy doing? Right? It's not, I have to do this because I feel like I have to be doing something.
yeah,
It's letting that go. And when you get into the inspired action, inspired, why is it all of a sudden an inspired action? It's because you're doing less and I'm not so, I've released the outcome, so I'm not attached to it. Okay. And when I'm not
mhm,
attached to something, that means now I'm open to receive whatever is for me, knowing whatever is for me will find me. And so now I'm actually able to receive, right?
yeah,
When you are attached to a certain outcome and you are so gung ho on this outcome, that is an attachment, and you are not open to receive something
hmm,
even better than you even could have thought of.
yep.
You wanted to
That's
start a business. If you were like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, incessant action, this, you, first of all, universe, you know, God, higher power, whatever, is like, okay, oh, you look like you good on your own. You know, you don't need me because look at you go, right?
hmm,
And it gives off this confusing energy, right? It's like, okay, I
yeah,
don't think you want any help right now. You look like you got your hands covered, you know.
yeah,
So, but when you take your hands off, alleviate a little bit of control, allow, and then flip your hands around and say, here, oh, I got open hands here. I can receive this now. You open yourself up to getting something even better. And if I
hmm,
know that, oh my gosh, I might get something even better than I initially even thought, I think that might make me enjoy the process a little more.
hmm. That's so true. If you recognize that when you alleviate yourself from all the doing and you, like you said, inspired action, but you allow for whatever is meant for you, it's, well, 90% of the time it's better than what you've imagined, because you're no longer in control of like this perfect outcome that it's going to look just like this, right? It's going to be, this is the person for me and that's it. And, or this is the, um, job for me, and if I don't get this job, then there's no other job out there. And my, you know, meanwhile there's a job next to it that's like 10 times better in a better city with more friends and more happiness and more joy, but you're not even looking there because you're like, no, but I have to have this, I have to have this. And I think, you know, this is something that it takes a lot of practice to do, because it's very hard to, and I think some of the enneagrams have it harder than others that to allow.
Mhm.
And you know, I'm going to use my husband as an example. He, you know, wanted this position in a company, and he didn't get the promotion right away. So he was started looking at other companies, and I said, "There's nothing wrong with exploring other companies. I think it's fair to look around." He started this process, and the next thing you know, his company found out and was like, "No, no, no, no! We'll do anything we need to do to keep you here." And it's like, you know, he was so focused on that position, and he was about to lose out on this opportunity with his current job where he has friendships and relationships and has built clientele and is growing and just like climbing slowly. And he makes more money now, and it's like he wouldn't have been able to have that had he been like, well, no, you won't give me my position, I don't even want to talk to you guys anymore. You know what I mean? It's like being so focused on that position and being in that level would have taken away from him. And I
Mhm.
think it takes some practice to get there. And like sometimes it can seem like, because there's that unknown, like you don't know what's going to happen. But if you sit here like this, guess what? Something good is going to fall into your lap because you're not controlling. It's
Mhm.
bizarre, but it works. Okay, just trust us on this one. It works.
Trust it and enjoy it, right? But
Enjoy
it's
it.
it's
Yeah.
where can I release the outcome? Because
Yeah.
really, whatever idea you have curated for your life, it was curated in the past, even a second ago, right? Past version of yourself. And then what happens is, you're so focused on where you want to be, it completely strips the joy away from the existing moment. You can
Yeah.
only ever be really happy in the present. Your body can only ever be in the present. So,
Mm-hmm.
doing things, with your body, wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, breath work. Okay, that can kind of help you get back into that present moment. But how can I enjoy this present moment now without having to wait for this one solo outcome that I have deemed the best
Yeah.
as a past version of myself, and I'm so focused on this moment that is in the future, it's stripping all my happiness away from the now. So it's like, be
The
happy
great things.
now. It's like, what can I
Mm-hmm.
look for in the now to be
Yep.
happy? And then if you bring in the law of attraction, it's like, okay, if I'm raising my vibration because I'm shifting into gratitude for everything around me now, and I'm going to find happiness now, and I just go from a negative energetic state, oh, this has to happen and it's not happening. And so I'm focused on what I don't have. And you switch, and you shift into that positive state, positive things come to you. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why when you release the outcome, when you stop, obsessing over the Bumble date or the callback from a job or whatever it is, that's when
Yeah.
that happens and comes to you. It comes
Yeah.
to you. And again, it's allowing something in.
Yeah. Allowing is like, it's the positive space. Like, I
Mhm.
think that's where it seems a little confusing because you don't have to control the positive either. The allowing is a positive feeling. It's a very relaxed, like light feeling of like, you're just here. And when you're
Mhm.
just here, like imagine running, frolicking through the fields, right? Like you're just there. You're just frolicking.
I'm just
Just
here. I'm
frolic through
enjoying
the fields.
the moment.
Guess what ends up happening? Some really cool stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you can literally, like I said, you can literally give it away and say, this is my intention, this is what I want, this is my action, I'm going to take my action and I'm going to let it go, I'm going to let it be and enjoy what I have now. And like you said, gratitude, I think joy and gratitude are obviously like connected, they're hand in hand. So when you have both of those, then like the big thing that you want to happen doesn't seem so big, but it like just falls for you, like just comes to you, and it's like you don't have to do all the work. It's a very interesting, and I think the law of attraction, like I said, it's one of those books that's highly recommend for everyone.
Mhm.
And there was I think I talked to you about this, but there's a metaphorical box you can get, and it's like, I am going to, and I actually bought a box, and I told you this, went to Mexico, and I was listening, and all of a sudden something pops up about get a little box, put that box and next to your bed or wherever you need to. And anytime you feel the need that you want something in your life or need something in your life, or there's something that your goal is that is out there that you want for yourself, put it in the box, close the box, and walk away. Like they were literally like, you write it down, you put it in the box, and you forget it. Like you forget about it, and you just go on your merry way. And that is essentially what you have to do. It's like once you walk away and then you could just be present where you are, like you said, being present where you are, like you're able to have like fun and let it come back to you. Like it just, you'd be surprised how many things come out of that box.
That's all we got for you today. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Jasleen, and you can actually expect to be hearing more from her on Create Your Fate, as she will actually be joining the Phoenix 8 coaching team in the very near future. So that's super exciting for me and for my coaching business as it grows. And I just want to thank you for all the support that you've given me by tuning in. And of course, if you loved today's episode and want more content like this, subscribe, leave a review. That will help the show grow so much, get really awesome guests for you, and help more people make small steps towards their best life ever, too. And who knows, maybe one of them will be a stranger who you pass on the street. So that's all I got. But of course, I'm going to leave you with just one thing, and it's this: expect good things always, and they will happen.